All right, let's do it. Let's do it. Appreciate y'all being in the joint, man. Let's get ready to go ahead and do it right quick. Try to run it up in about 30, about a good 25, 30 minutes right here, man. We ain't gonna be in here too long. Good vibes. I see you, man. I see you. Dr. Noble J. Bay, salute. Chris, what up? What up? Fierce Soul, what up with you, man? Hey, Bell, what's good? What's good? Give the people a couple of minutes, man. We ain't gonna be in here long today. King Will, what up, man? Good to see you in the joint, too. We ain't gonna be in here too long. Just had to come in here, man, chop it up with y'all a little bit. Norris, what up, man? Good to see you in the joint. Eric Almighty, what up, E? Yeah, hey, man. Hey, life be life and dog. Life has its own way of doing things, man. Y'all look at this right here, man. Life has its own way of doing things, man. That's a good show to cover too, man. You know what? Well, I'll talk about that. I'll do a show later, and man, I'll talk about that, man. When life is hidden, man, you know how we'll talk about that. All right, man. So Finance Fridays, man. Count your blessings. Stop all your frivolous spending. Stop all your frivolous spending. You know, the majority of people complain about their bills, but they have more frivolous spending than they have bills. The majority of people complain about a car note, which you know how, I mean, sometimes you got to have a car note. You know what I mean? Especially if you're young or you got a long way to travel or just if you, however, when you're young, you normally get a car note. Some people always keep a car note. Okay, cool. Car note is one thing that you can do away with. But if you have one and you're complaining about it, I guarantee you there's some frivolous spending that's causing you more financial grief than your car note is. Grocery bill. You complain about spending money on grocery, but how often do you order from DoorDash or Uber Eats or Grubhub or one of these delivery services that charge you to pick up food and deliver it to you from the place you just passed by on the way home? From the place where it costs you less to drive to that place and pick it up yourself. How often do you spend that? Man, I know people that spend four, five, $600 a week ordering through one of these delivery services, one of these food delivery services. Those same people may spend 100, $200 a week on having their grocery delivered to their house. Man, that's five, six, $700 a week that people are spending on that. If you spend $500 a week on that, that's $2,000 a month. But you complaining about maybe a five, six, seven, $800 bill that you have when you're spending 2,000, $2,500 a month, sometimes 3,000 a month on those food delivery services. Make it make sense to me. We got to stop your frivolous spending. You can't double buy things. I think the problem is we like to double buy things. Like if you spend money on grocery and you keep grocery in your house, you can't then turn around and eat out. If you're someone who eats out, your fridge and freezer is probably empty. You probably got just the basics in there. Man, listen, if I was someone who ate out every day, the only thing you see in my fridge is water because you got to have it at home. I wouldn't even have anything to eat at home. No snacks, no nothing. If I'm eating out every day, I can't afford to eat out every day and then still have food at home to eat at home. For one thing, you're overeating. If you eat out every day and you grocery shop, you're probably overweight. As a matter of fact, I can guarantee you're overweight. If you eat out every day, at least once a day, and your home is full of grocery, you're overweight. But when we talk about frivolous spending, people don't understand how easy it is for 5, 6, 7, 10, 11, $12 to add up to 2,000 at the end of a month, because they're all come in such short denominations that you're spending a little bit here, a little bit there, and a little bit there, but you're doing it every day. You got to count your blessings. You can't just frivolously run through your money. Now, let me cover this elephant in the room. Famo, what's good, brother? Good to see you in the joint. Let me cover this elephant in the room. People be asking me for investment advice. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not a financial advisor. The only investment advice I feel comfortable giving anyone is to invest in the S&P. If you invest in the S&P, the S&P throughout the lifetime of the fund has paid a 10% dividend annually. So that means for the past 10 years, if you've had $1 million in the S&P, it paid you a $100,000 dividend a year. So you've been making six figures just from that dividend. That's the only thing that I can look at and say, okay, that is consistent. It's one of the most consistent stocks in history, the S&P. Yeah, it goes up and down, but by the end of the year, it pays you a 10% dividend. And so I say this, when you really think about it, that's the only place that I can say, okay, I feel comfortable telling you, okay, if you're going to start investing, go there first. And then the rest of the way, you get a financial advisor, or, maybe we got to do some talk behind closed doors or whatever, or behind the scenes. But here, that's the only thing I can give you. Now, let's get back to the show. Oh, and also have some money put aside for an emergency, man. You know what I'm saying? $2,000 or $3,000 is all you need. You don't need to have $50,000 in emergency funds. I mean, what's going to happen in your life where you need that much in emergency funds? Maybe a major surgery, accident, or something like that. But that's not something that happens to us very often. You know what I mean? Like, your health builds to that. You're not the picture of health one day and the next day you got to have some major surgery to, get some, you know, to recover from some terminal illness. That's not how it goes. So I want y'all to understand something. You have to remember that whatever money you're making is not guaranteed to continue for the next 6 months, the next year, the next 2 years, the next 5 years, the next 10 years. You just don't know. So you can't afford to spend frivolously. You can't afford to spend frivolously. For me, life insurance, I don't look at life insurance as an investment. I look at life insurance as a necessity. I look at life insurance the way I look at having a nest egg put to the side. You got to have that. You need to have that. You never know when you're going to go. You know what I mean? You never know when you're going to go. None of us do. So have that. Have life insurance. Actually, have some accidental death insurance. Have some injury insurance. Have all of that stuff lined up. So if something happens, you won't leave your people, or if you're still alive, you won't be, under some type of sudden financial duress. Because I'm going to be honest with you, there's no stress like financial duress. There is no stress like financial duress. So also do this. When you think about what you need to buy, you only spend money on your needs. Now, am I saying you can't spend money on your wants? No, but you allot yourself a certain percentage of what you make to spend however you want to spend. If you want to Listen, if you want to buy clothes, if you want to buy 304s, if you want to, man, if you want to bet on a game, if you whatever you want to do, you allot yourself a certain percentage, a very small percentage of money to just do what you want to do with. Because you got to keep your own morale. Like, you're the hardest worker in your life. You're your top employee. So you got to make sure your employee morale is on point. So allot yourself a little bit of money every month to just spend on whatever you want to spend it on. You like cameras, you spend it on cameras. You like you like music equipment, you spend it on music equipment. You like to travel. Okay, take a little trip every month. Whatever you like to do, you do that with that money, and then you get back into the grind mode. And you do that every month, so you never feel like you're working for nothing. You never feel like you're grinding and saving for nothing. You never feel the need to tap into your savings, or move some stocks around to and sell some of those. You don't ever feel any reason to do that, because you're rewarding yourself every month. But once you reward yourself, that's it for you. You don't get no more. You don't get no more. That's it for you. And the reality is you got to understand this. Man, let me go here, man. Hold up, man. Let me fix something, man. Man, folks in here talking about, man. Hold up. My bad. Let's go to members only, man. You know, man, folks here asking, man, about when BOA gonna do music with DJ Fresh. Obviously not in here for the show. Hold up, bro. Hold on. I'm in the wrong stream. My bad. Y'all give me a minute, man. I'm tripping. Trying to go in the wrong place. All right, man. We back. We back. So I want y'all to understand, man, that you got to understand you have to have a financial plan every month. You have to have a financial plan every month. Every month. Every month you got to start off broke, right? And you start off with what you make every month. And you budget from there. You budget from there and don't neglect to, when you look at that budget, you run that budget the way it's written, man. Run it the way it's written. Yes, there may be something that comes up that you want, but if it doesn't fit into your percentage of money to do whatever you want to do with, then you just can't get it unless you're going to put that money to the side for a couple of months. And that will teach you also how to be patient when it comes to buying things. If there's something you want and you can't buy it in 1 month, well, you know that whatever your percentage is that you put to the side to spend on your frivolous spending money, you put that to the side. You may have to put it to the side for 3 or 4 months. Okay, well, you do that. It teaches you discipline on buying things so you don't make impulse purchases. The number one sign that you're not financially fit or you're not financially astute is if you make impulse buys. Any impulse buy. I mean, you just walk into somewhere, you see something, you buy it. Now, I don't shop in Walmart anymore. Like, I can't remember the last time I went in Walmart to buy anything. I really can't remember the last thing I bought from Walmart. I don't. I just don't go in there. But um, when you look at it, people always say you go in and you come out with more than you went in with. Well, when I used to go in Walmart, I come out with exactly what, bro. I have rarely gone into Walmart and needed a shopping cart. I never need a shopping cart because I'm always going in there either to get some replacement fishing tackle, or I'm going in there to get maybe some light bulbs, or I go in there to get maybe some paintbrushes or something like that. It's always something simple like that. And or maybe some sandpaper or something. But then places like, I don't go in Walmart to even get stuff like that. I'm just thinking of things that I have gotten out of there, in a pinch before, but it's always just enough. I can carry it out. I never need a cart when I go in there because I don't grocery shop there. So when you think about it, man, frivolous spending, the number one sign that you're a frivolous spender is if you make impulse purchases, brother. I don't make impulse purchases. I don't. When I'm traveling, if I need something, some new apparel, some say some shoes or whatever. Say if I'm going to a beach and I buy just exactly what I need. Like, I don't go places and shop. I don't When I'm placing, I don't shop. Like, I don't shop when I travel. There's nowhere I could go in the world where I'm just gonna shop while I'm there. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you. That's really an Americanized mindset where you feel like you got to go shop somewhere. You feel like you got to go to Italy and you got to buy, these expensive brands because you're there, because you see them. Man, I went into this store and I just bought it fresh from the. I don't have time for that, bro, because that stuff doesn't serve a purpose. You got to understand the goal is to retire at a time where you can still enjoy life. That's the goal. The goal is to retire young enough where you can still enjoy life. You don't want to retire. Honestly, brothers, your goal is not to retire at 62. The average lifespan in the United States is 70. You retire at 62, you got 8 years to live retired. You got 8 years to enjoy the fruits of your labor. No, that's not how you do it. You got to be in crunch time right now. You got to be in crunch time. And the older you are, the less time you got left for crunch time. Imagine if you listening right now, you 50. Man, you 50 years old, dog. You got to retire at 60. If you just get started now, you're gonna be retiring at retirement age. So if you younger than 50, if you 20, if you 30, if you man, you better get started. If you 20, you want to retire at 42, not 62. And by retire, I don't mean sit down and do nothing. That's when retirement only means sit down and do nothing if you retire at 62. You know what I mean? The goal is to make sure that you can sit down when you're ready to sit down and you're not forced to sit down because you got to sit down because you're not productive in the workforce or whatever you do. That you got to understand blowing blowing money is a nonsensical endeavor. It doesn't even make sense. Have I blown some money in my life? Yes, of course I have. Yes. Have you blown some? Yes, we've all blown money. But let me ask you something. Is there any greater regret for you as a financially responsible individual than those times when you blew money? You know what I'm saying? Because we're not talking about blowing $50. We're talking about blowing money. Think about the times you blew money. Those, honestly, those are some of my most painful memories. Blowing money, bro, those are some of the memories that hurt me. There ain't much from the past that still hurt me, but times when I've blown through money, man, that hurts me, bro. I'm in pain to think about it. If I was a drinker, I would need a drink if I thought about that too much. So I'm telling you, stay out of those. Don't create those memories. Don't go into that mindset. And you just got to understand. So even when it comes to grocery shopping, if you're gonna buy grocery, man, you buy the same things every week. All this exotic food and preparation. If you don't have a cooking show or a cooking channel and you making money off of, why are you buying all this exotic stuff all the time? People who do exotic grocery shopping and always changing up what they buy and all of that, those people are overweight. They're not healthy. Because if you're in shape or you're trying to get in shape or you're thinking about getting in shape or you want to be in shape, then you know that most of the things in the grocery store, you can't even eat them anyway. All those middle aisles are off limits. You can have some guilty pleasures. Maybe if you like, if you like baked fish, maybe you get you some tartar sauce. Okay, that's a guilty pleasure. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you make sure that it's a no sugar condiment. It has some maybe have the brand you get may have some high fructose corn syrup in it. So that's a little bit of sugar, but I mean, for what you're going to use, hey man, that may be a guilty pleasure. But you coming out with boxes and cans, bro. When you come out the store with boxes and cans, all your expenses are going to go there. And the bottom line is you just streamline what you buy. You only need to buy what you're going to eat. So honestly, if you're not making a grocery list when you grocery shop, you're spending impulsively. That's one of the ways that we spend impulsively. We go grocery shopping, but we don't make a grocery list. That means that means you're walking up and down every aisle. When you see those people in the grocery store walking up and down every aisle, man, those are impulsive shoppers. Because I promise you, if you walk up and down every aisle, about 20% of the things you have in your shopping cart are going to go to the trash because they're going to go out of date. If you have a freezer, if let's say you have a deep freezer in your garage and it's packed to the top, that stuff at the bottom is going to go bad because all the stuff at the top is what you prefer to eat. The stuff at the bottom is going to go bad. Eventually, you're going to have to throw some stuff out. That's just the way it is. There's no other way around it. If your pantry is absolutely stock full of snacks, some of that stuff is going to go bad. And anytime you buy something, you got to throw it away because it goes out of date. Man, that's nothing more frivolous than buying something you don't even need or want. Think about this. If you buy something and it goes out of date, that means you didn't need it or want it. Why would you spend money on something you don't need or want? You don't want to spend a whole lot of money on what you want. But if you're going to buy something you don't need, you better sure enough want it. But that's where we live. That we live in a society where that's it. When you think about people, just buying gas, bro, let me tell you something. I don't drive my car unless I have to. People be talking about, man, I be hearing people talk about, man, yeah, man, we just out riding. Y'all just out riding. Wait a minute, y'all just out riding around, burning up gas. Y'all don't have nowhere to go. Y'all just out riding around, trying to find somewhere to go? Bruh, come on, man. How much sense does it make to drive around? You don't know where you're going. You don't have anywhere to go. You're just aimlessly driving around. Do you see how much gas is at the pump? Especially if you got something where you got to drive, you got to use premium fuel. That's another thing, bro. one of the worst decisions you can make is buying something fancy or buying something fast, and you got to put premium gas in it. Bro, the goal is to be going the opposite way, maybe going electric. How you gonna go from regular gas? Now you got to put premium gas in your car and you got to drive it every day. Honestly, I put premium gas in my car, but I don't drive every day. You know what I mean? I work from home, so there are some days I don't drive. Literally, there are some days I don't drive. And if I do drive, it's somewhere close, it's local. You know what I mean? 3 times a week, I have clients I have to go see. But that's me going to make money. You know what I mean? Just driving frivolously, bro. I cannot imagine the need to just drive frivolously and burn up gas, dog. And that's one of those waste of money that we don't even count because we're used to driving. We know we got to put gas in our car if we want to drive. So we just keep going to the pump, just going to the pump. We just go to the pump. We need gas. We just go to the pump. The majority of people don't have a budget for gas, for fuel. The majority of people don't have a budget for food. The majority of people don't have a budget for clothes. The majority of people don't have a budget for saving. The majority of people don't have a budget for investing. You see where I'm going with this? The majority of people don't have a budget. That's how you can make 30,000 and be living check to check, and then make 50,000 and be living check to check, and then make 75,000 and be living check to check, and then make 100,000 and be living check to check, and then make 150 and be living check to check, and then make 200 and be living check to check, and then make 350 and be living check to check, and then make 500 and barely not be living check to check. Because you have to account for every dollar that's coming in. And then you have to account for every dollar that's going out. How do you do that? You do that with a zero budget. You do that with a zero budget. You start off every month. This is what's coming in. This is what's going out. This is what's left. And you already have a plan for how you allot what's left. And here's the thing. When I say what's left, I mean, after you do all the necessary things you need to do, what's left is your frivolous spending money. And it should always be very low. Your frivolous spending money should never be more than 5% of what you make. It should never be more than 5% of what you make. Ever. If your frivolous spending is more than 5% of what you make, then I mean you're fighting a losing battle. You're fighting a losing battle. Let's say you make what, 10 bands a month? Yeah, say you make 10 bands a month. You make 10 bands a month, that's $500. You should that's okay. You got $500 to spend frivolously. And honestly, frivolous spending, that's a big number. You know what I mean? $500 to spend frivolously, boy, that's a big number. I be thinking more like 250, 200. You know what I mean? Let me see. Do I have something I can spend frivolously on? What do I need? What do I want? $500. I may go buy a lens for my camera. You know what I'm saying? I may go buy a lens for my camera for $500. I may do something like that. But if I don't need a lens, then I ain't got nothing to spend frivolously on. You know what I'm saying? I don't have anything to spend frivolously on. So frivolous spending, bro, it's almost something you really don't even need to do. Because here's the thing about establishing some financial security, some financial, I call it financial rigmarole. If you establish financial rigmarole in your life, dog, then you don't even want to spend frivolously. You start feeling bad about spending frivolously. Like, man, what am I doing with this? I could just put this over there. I could just put this over there. I could just done this. Maybe you want to walk around with a couple $100 cash on you. So, when you're somewhere, sometimes you take your frivolous money, man, and you help people with it. You never know, but that's what you should do. Never more than 5%. Never 5% is the max. I'm not saying you need to do 5%. I'm saying 5% is the max. And you just got to, man, listen, you have to understand every month you got to play broke. You know what I'm saying? And by play broke, I don't mean act broke. I mean you got to be broke. You know how you be broke every month? If all of your money is accounted for. If all of your money goes somewhere and then someone says, "Hey man, can you loan me $1,000?" You legitimately don't have $1,000 to loan someone. Let's say if you take all of your money and invest it. Let's say you got your nest egg and then you take everything else and invest it. Well, where you gonna get $1,000 from? You gonna cash in some stock to get $1,000 to loan somebody? No, you don't have it. Like keeping cash laying around is dumb. Cash, man, cash is steadily, consistently over the past couple of decades, man, it is phasing out. It is losing its value. You know what I mean? It's losing it. And I can only speak over the past couple of decades because I mean, before that, I wasn't an adult. You know what I mean? I was a kid. Hey, buy me this, buy me that, buy me this. But once you realize that, man, you got to turn it into something that has value. You got to turn it into something that the value sticks. You know what I mean? And I just say this, me, I like to invest in businesses, man. I really do. I like to invest in people's businesses. That's just my thing. I like to invest in businesses. I like to invest in things that I can see grow, that I can affect. Now, I'm not saying I don't invest in stocks at all. I'm saying that my preference is to invest in businesses because you can affect businesses. You can have input in businesses, how they grow, how they flow. And to me, that just and it keeps you on the scene. It keeps me engaged in business. And so for me, that's almost a necessity for me being engaged in business. But I say this, man, you got to understand, dog, you got to keep in mind, brothers, and I want y'all to understand this. Got to take the glass off so you can take shades off so y'all can see me, man. You have to understand that life is getting more and more expensive every year. Every year, almost every quarter now. Life is getting more and more expensive. Your dollars carry less weight than they ever have. It's kind of rebounded recently to I mean almost to an all time high. It's kind of rebounded, but it's so volatile now, and other countries are doing things to phase it out as the universal form of currency. So these are some things that you need to keep in mind, and you got to remember this. You got to make sure that if everything goes bad and everything falters, that you got enough money put to the side where you'll be okay so you can think your way through things. Like you can't be okay if you got to go into panic mode when everything falters. Let's say the banking industry fails and everything you got access to is gone. Let's say the stock market just crashes out and it doesn't rebound this time. Let's say we hit a Great Depression. Okay, what can you move with? What do you have? You got to really look into it and get you a financial advisor so you can see the things that have withstood those type of down financial times. But that's for the advanced savers, advanced um, money people, advanced people who have advanced financial astuteness. If you just starting out, man, you got to have your nest egg put to the side and you got to start managing your money. You got to pay off that damn debt. Debt is the main thing, man. Let me tell you something. Debt is the main enemy of wealth. Yes, all debt isn't bad, but bad debt is the main enemy of. Listen, I'm gonna be honest with you. If I had a bunch of credit card debt, I would just be broke every month trying to pay that shit off, dog. Like I will literally be broke every month. I just be home. I'd be home eating boiled eggs. You know what I'm saying? I'd be home. I wouldn't go anywhere. I wouldn't have no money to do nothing with just so I can get from under that bad debt, dog. You got to get from under it as quick as you can. As quick as you can, you got to get from under it. Like nothing else even matters. You want to have your little nest egg to the side. You want to have your two, maybe 2 or 3 months of expenses if you can. If not, you want to have your $2 or $3,000. You have 2 or 3,000. Five is a good number, a hell of a good number, but $2 or $3,000, you want to have that put to the side for a rainy day. Other than that, man, you want to get from under that bad debt, boy. You gotta get from under that bad debt, dog. Like you gotta have a 6 month to 12 month plan to just get from under that bad debt. You got to work like a slave to get from under it. You got to do what you got to do. If you got time in your day, then you got time to work in your day. You got to hurry up and get from under it because if you don't, there'll come a time where you can't get from under it. And then you're stuck and at the bottom of the barrel financially. And I'm gonna be honest with you, when you get stuck at the bottom of the barrel financially, almost no one digs out. Almost no one digs out. Those are the people that go buy lottery tickets all the time, trying to dig out. They can't dig out, so they're trying to luck out. You know what I mean? Those are the people who gamble all the time. They can't dig out, so they're trying to luck out. So I'm telling you, yes, accept the fact that if you've got, let's say, some credit card debt or some student loan debt or any of that, man, you got to try to phase that crap out as quick as you can. Don't worry about having no fancy car. Don't worry about having no expensive clothes. Don't worry about having none of that. Because honestly, if you got a lot of consumer debt, you can't afford expensive clothes. You can't afford to live in an expensive home. You got people out here. One of the worst situations I see is people that have $200,000 worth of student loan debt, and then they go get a $300,000 mortgage. They just automatically drop into $500,000 worth of debt. And here's the thing about it, man. I'll be honest with you. There's a difference in having investment properties and having a property that you live in. What happens with a property that you live in, depending on what it is. Like listen, man, I got partners that live in $1 million homes. Some a little bit better than $1 million. And for them, they just bought their homes cash outright. So that's no loan, no nothing. And they still call their home a money pit. They still deep down inside feel like it was a bad investment. You know what I mean? It's worth it because they could resell it for more than they paid for it. I mean, they made some additions to it and some adjustments, but they could sell it for more than they paid for it. They can get their money and some, but maintaining it every month is just an expense that they'd incurred. Like, I knew this was going to be expensive, but I just don't feel like it's worth it every month. And that's one of the things, dog. You have to just look at debt from your own scope. You know what I'm saying? The main goal is to be out of debt. Then you look at debt through your own scope. Do you want a home? Do you want a home to live in? Or do you just want rental properties and then you live in a fly condo somewhere? The choice of where you live every day is yours. But if you're going to do anything outside of that, you got to try to do it in the most debt-free way possible. You know what I mean? Now, I will say this, and we won't talk about this too much in debt. Commercial debt is different from consumer debt. You understand me? Commercial debt, getting a loan to start a business. Now, Mark Cuban says, I wouldn't do it. Well, Mark Cuban didn't start from ground zero either. But if you're going to have some debt, commercial debt is different. You know what I mean? Getting a loan to develop a subdivision, totally different. Totally different. We're not talking about that. We're talking about the things where you get bills every month and your bill was $2,000 last month. You paid $300 and now your bill is $2,200 this month. We're talking about that kind of debt to where you pay more than your minimum payment, but your balance is higher the next month. That type of crazy debt like that, the type of debt that sinks you, that makes you feel like you're working for nothing. You got to get from under that type of debt, man. And I say this to you. One thing, the first two things I would tell you to do. And someone asked me about a voluntary repossession. Voluntary repossession, we ain't gonna talk about that here. That's a rabbit hole to go down, man. Like that's a last resort, and I don't even know what would have to happen for you to get to that resort. But if you got a car, man, you pay that damn car off as fast as you can. That's why you got to get out of that other consumer debt, credit card debts and all that. Kill them credit card debts. And don't think this gonna be a short process for you. If you spent your whole life getting in debt, then take 2 to 5 years to get out of it. I promise you. If you take 2 to 5 years to get out of your debt, you'll thank yourself for the rest of your life. You'll forget the time you spent getting in debt. If you take this time to work as hard getting out of debt as you took getting in debt. You know what I mean? So that's what I want you to do. I want you to understand that you have to pay off your consumer debt, which means credit cards, car notes. You got to pay off that stuff, man. You got to get out of it. And the thing is, man, when you pay off the car, you may just want to keep it forever. Okay, keep it forever. You know what I'm saying? And that's just what you do, but don't do it again. If you have a car note now, this should be your last car note. There's just no need to get one because you can get a reliable vehicle, especially once you get out of this consumer debt, you got a lot more free income to play with. So you could just go and pay 10, $13,000 for something, $15,000 for a car that's practically, basically, like new. You know what I mean? The bottom line, unless you're trying to go out there, if you want to drive a Lamborghini or something like that, which if you want to drive a Lamborghini, then you ain't listening to this conversation anyway. You know what I'm saying? If you're in the market for a Lambo, you're not listening to this conversation. You're somewhere on an island somewhere. You're in Turks and Caicos somewhere doing something fly. But we're talking about for people that got to get up every day, man, and make their money. You got to get out of consumer debt, man. You got to get out of consumer debt. Listen, Marco just said something phenomenal. I hate to say this, but I'd rather be broke than to be on any type of debts, bro. That's real. And here's another thing. Look what Famo said. Now legally they have to tell you how long it takes by paying the minimum payment. Bro, have you seen some of those? Sometime, man, they be saying like 19 years. Bro, it takes you 19 years to pay it off with the minimum. It takes you 12 years to pay it off with the minimum payment, which goes to show you just got to throw money into it. Man, you put your $1,000 to $5,000. I say $2,000 to $5,000 aside for your emergency fund, and then you go absolutely ham paying off debts. Every other dollar you get, okay, you got to pay bills, but after you pay your bills, once you got your emergency fund, here's the thing, brothers, and I want y'all to understand this: if you don't have your emergency fund and you got all these debts, you can't afford to invest. That's the thing. You can't afford to invest if you have all of this debt. You got to pay that debt off and then use the money that you were using for the debts to invest. So you're not just paying off debt so you can say, woohoo, I'm debt free. You're paying off debts so then you can have money to invest. You can have money to grow. You don't have money to grow if you have money you owe. You know what I mean? You don't have money to grow if you have a lot of money you owe. Yeah, pay them people their money. Get them people out your pocket, man. Get them out your pocket. Get them out of your pocket immediately. Now, right now, next payday, start getting people out your money. If you ain't doing it already, man, get these people out your pocket. Don't worry about what people are gonna say. If you still worrying about what people say, then you ain't ready for this conversation anyway. Who you worrying about? The people who you worrying about, they probably in more debt than you. So let's get out of this consumer debt, man. Let's free it up, man. Let's squeeze this stuff out of our lives and never invite it back in, man. It's a burden. It's a financial burden that hangs over your head, man. Listen, I'm gonna tell you like this, bro. Pay them. Those credit cards, pay them, and every time you pay one, man, close it. You don't care. You don't even care. You don't even want it no more. Close it. If you're gonna keep one, I would say this: if you're gonna keep one, then you get a small credit card like through your bank, maybe with a $500 limit on it, and you just use it to put gas in your car. You know what I mean? That one credit card is enough. You use it to put gas in your car. You pay it off like clockwork every month. It's gonna serve the purpose, bro. It's gonna serve a better purpose than all of those dang on. It's gonna serve a better purpose than all of those freaking um all of those credit cards that you got now where you making minimum payments on it. You know what I'm saying? Don't get me wrong. If you got that debt and you making the payments, it looks good, but there's still a lot of debt. It's still a debt. Your debt to credit ratio is high as hell. So kill that stuff. Kill it. Use that money to grow, man. Use that money to grow. If you don't blow it, you can grow it. If you don't grow it, you're gonna blow it. That's just how it is. That's the reality of it. All right, brother. So I ain't gonna hold y'all in here long, man. Let's get on out of here. Let's get on out of here, man. I appreciate y'all, man. I got to get to the client house, man. Listen, another episode, man. Finance Friday, man. We just came here and chopped it up, man. Listen, I appreciate y'all. I appreciate y'all. Listen, man, I appreciate y'all. Y'all ain't understanding, man. I appreciate y'all, brothers. We'll get into a little bit more. We'll get a little bit more in depth on some things, man, on the next show. And we'll talk about, once you get past the debt, then we'll talk about the next steps to make once you get past the debt. All right, brothers, let's get ready to slide on out of here, man. I appreciate y'all, man. Y'all put God first. Keep grinding and growing, baby. Peace.